Imagine you're enjoying a happy little snorkel off the coast of Australia. You're obviously keeping an eye out for jellies and sharks, but wait, what's that? You see the beautifully intricate patterns of a snail shell on the ocean floor. You pick it up, but if it's cone snail, you're in for a surprise. Considered one of the most venomous animals in the world, the geography cone snail won't think twice about injecting you full of enough painkillers to end your snorkeling trip. But this snail also has another trick up its shell, like we do here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. 30 minutes of interesting animal info delivered hot and steaming directly into your ear holes.
Gross, but also delicious.
I am Joe.
And I am Carlos.
And today we're talking about a snail that would leave a trail of pale Dales if it were to go to a shell collecting convention in a town full of handsy guys named Dale.
All right, I owe you some money for getting that right the first time.
But absolutely bonkers.
That is bonkers.
But yeah, we're talking about a snail. And not just any snail. A conus. I'm not going to say the rest. That's for later.
Okay.
A geography cone.
You're going to leave everybody in suspense.
Yes.
Geography cone.
Yeah.
That's so underwhelming and boring.
Yeah, I'm picturing like a cone, like a traffic cone with a globe on it. A geography cone.
Yeah. One that you would use in your typical traffic safety classroom.
Yes. Or a cone your geography teacher would use to be able to talk to the people in the back row.
It's like, they can't hear me, let me use the geography. You have to wear the geography cone like a dunce hat in the corner. Since the scientific community has seriously dropped the ball when it comes to nicknames here, I came up with a few of my own.
Okay.
Like the deep-sea diabetical evil.
Okay.
That's a pretty good one. The hypoglycemic harpoon.
Sweet.
The conical carp killer.
Okay.
Although I couldn't think of another, like a saltwater fish that started with a hard K, so I went with carp. And then the last one is the molluscan menace.
Or the murderous mucus mollusk.
Oh, that's pretty good. Murderous mucus meanie.
Yeah, that's good. All right, you ready to hear where this thing is in the taxonomical world?
Yes.
All right. It's in a kingdom we all know and love. Very familiar kingdom. Kingdom Animalia. A kingdom I personally think is the best kingdom.
I identify with this one as well.
It's in the phylum Mollusca. I haven't done that in a while. Or
we have?
Yeah, we have done in a while. But
we did the giant African land snail.
Yeah. This one is not a land snail. Because it's in the class... No, not because. But it is in the class Gastropoda. It's in several clades, which is taxonomical groups.
Instead of an order.
Right. Here they are. Canogastropoda, Hypsnogastropoda, and Neogastropoda.
That was ZZ.
All of those are not all of those groups are the majority of them is predatory sea snails.
Okay.
And they are in the superfamily Conoidae, could be.
Okay.
Also predatory sneeze-tails.
Sneezing snails.
Sneeze-tails. Family Conidae. Those are cone snails. And the genus is Conus, making the species Conus geographus.
The geography cone.
Yeah. I try to find out why it's called that. You try to find out why it's called that. No one actually knows.
Nope.
So
only some 18th century explorer knows why it's called that.
Possibly because it's all over the place, but more on that later. Let me describe it to you, listener, who has never perhaps seen it and is maybe driving right now and can't Google it. Sea snails this particular sea snail has a cylindrical shell, meaning it is, oval shaped and round.
It's not conical?
No.
It's not a cone?
No. Well, there was a conishness near, there's conishness.
There's just so much wrong with the name of this.
No, there's conishness. It's thin on one side and thicker on another, so that's Coney Island. The shell has a base pinkish color, so it's like a pinkish white. It can be completely white or completely pink. and somewhere in between. It's a spectrum.
Isn't it sometimes brown?
Well, it has brownish red splotches that form thick broken bands all over it.
Okay.
The snail's visible foot is also blotchy with brown, yellow, and tan coloration.
So is mine.
Like fake harvest time corn decorations. You know, like this fake? Yeah.
Yep. It's like, this corn is spoiled. That's how you know it's fall.
It has a proboscis, which protrudes from the side opposite the apical side, which is the spiral part.
Okay.
So the other side of the spiral part is where the proboscis comes out. The proboscis sheathes a sinister tooth, which can shoot out at unsuspecting fish.
Or just like really chilled out fish, as we'll go into later.
More on that later. But for right now, we've reached a critical juncture in the episode. Juncture. And a juncture...
I'm not ready for this.
Just happens to be the listener's favorite part of the show, as per a Twitter poll.
We need to run another poll.
It's the part of the show that we like to call 3, 2, 1. Measure up.
I think there was some cooping, maybe some voter fraud.
No,
ghost voting.
All above board.
All what?
All above board. That means
all above board.
Yeah.
All aboard above.
Cut that. Above board. You've never heard that? It means everything is on the up and up.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Here we go. Measure up, the part of the show where I, Joe, present you, Carlos, with questions, the answers of which will give the listener a better understanding of the size and dimensions and measurements that involve this animal.
That sounded like marriage vows. That I, Joe, present to you.
Yes, because it's that important.
I don't.
The institution of the measure up. Let's start with length. We've only got 2 today. Length, 4 inches or 10 centimeters to 6 inches or 15 centimeters. Let's average that at about 5 inches.
Sounds good.
How many microzooplantons, the smallest zooplankton, go into a cone snail?
865,000.
865,000. That's a fair guess, because microzooplankton are very small.
Yes.
But the correct answer is 127,000.
At least I was in the same number of digits.
Yeah. That's commendable.
Just 8 times smaller.
Plus, like, microzooplankton, wide range of size.
Yeah.
Or rather, zooplankton and microzooplankton are pretty small.
Like, it could be the size of just your average tiny cell, or it could be like the size of a tardigrade. Who knows?
So let's move on to shell size. The size of the shell. It's 43 millimeters, between 43 millimeters and 166 millimeters. Let's average that at about 105 millimeters or 4.1 inches. How many cone snail shells go into the height of One Shell Plaza, the skyscraping headquarters of the Shell Oil Company, without the antenna?
Oh, dang it. I knew it just off the top of my head with the antenna, but you got me with that one.
But you don't know the exact height of the antenna, so you can't just minus it.
Right, that's the problem.
Or subtract is how you say that in the scientific community.
Where's this headquarters?
Texas.
Figures.
I think, which is a good guess.
Actually, I didn't figure that at all. I didn't even know they had a headquarters. I assumed they did, but, you know. How many inches? 4.1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so about 2.5 of these go into a foot. I'm going to say that this building is, I mean, you said it's skyscraping?
Yep.
I'm going to say it's like 900 to 1,000 feet tall. It's pretty tall. I think the tallest building ever is like 1,800 feet tall. So let's just call it a solid 2,300.
It is 2,093. Not bad.
Dang.
Not bad. The height, the actual height of the tower is 715 feet or 218 meters.
Okay, so I got it.
You're in the range.
It's pretty much. Those were 2 pretty good ones.
Yeah. I like I said, it's a kinder, gentler season of Measure Up.
Although I still could have been way off.
Maybe I should do that as a poll. Do listeners enjoy the kinder, gentler measure up?
They don't like me.
They want to hear you sing.
Oh yeah, I forgot to include a song here. I'm gonna have to sing something.
All right, where they at? Ooh, they everywhere.
Who are you?
That's actually in my notes.
This should have been ooh day everywhere.
I said ooh, they everywhere. They are located in the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean, off the Chagos. Reunion is a place.
That sounds like a good
Madagascar, Mauritius,
Yeah, sure.
Mozambique, off the coasts of these places.
Oh, you mean
mind you,
Mauritius or whatever?
Mauritius.
Yeah,
sounds right. And Tanzania, they're off the coasts of all the places, but they're also in reefs all over the Indo-Pacific region, which is the Indian Ocean to the Pacific Ocean, around Australia. Not in Hawaii though; it's too touristy for them. They will not set foot in Hawaii.
And also there's like volcanoes and they're afraid of those.
Yeah, they're not down. It prefers shallow reefs and settles in the sandy sediments.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds peaceful.
It is. It's a very peaceful animal, except for everything about it.
It moves slowly.
Let's talk about how it hunts. I have a nice little diagram here. Did you draw anything?
No.
But
that was way too complicated. I didn't want to draw cauliflower.
Yeah, it is disgusting looking. But I'm looking at proboscis, harpoons, venom, that sweet venominy taste. Venom ducts.
Sprinkle some venom on that.
Harpoon sacks. All right, here, let's talk about all that. It preys on small fish by shooting at them with their proboscis tooth harpoon. The tooth shoots out telescopically, if that's a word, and injects the prey with a crazy cocktail of death.
I have here written, "O death, where is your sting?"
It's right here.
Asks 1 Corinthians. It's right here, says the cone snail.
Most conesmen have scary venoms, but the geography cone snail has venom that's powerful enough to kill
Many people.
Many people. In fact, it has killed more than 30 people.
In fact, it's killed 31 of the 36 people that have ever been killed by a cone snail.
Wow.
So
31. More than 30 humans? 31 humans.
But of all, in the 300 years that they've been observing cone snails, 36 people have been documented to die from them. And this snail is responsible for 31 of those. So it's the deadliest of the snails.
It is indeed. The venom is estimated to be able to kill a 100. Okay, so I'm going to give a little disclaimer here. I did some math, and I had to do 2 equations.
Uh-oh.
And I am not confident in the correctness of this. If you know the correct answer, or if you think I'm wrong, let us know on Facebook or Twitter, or email us.
ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. ldtaxonomy everywhere. Just do that.
Yes. The venom is estimated to be able to kill a 100-pound person with just 0.136 milligrams. How many here we go. Here's a little bonus measure up. How many times lighter is that than a snowflake? How many lethal doses of this venom go into one snowflake?
It's called like conotoxin, right? This venom.
Sure.
That helps me figure it out. 0.0 what?
0.136.
2.136.
Milligrams.
Well, I'm gonna say it's 10 times lighter than a snowflake.
It's 22 times lighter. A snowflake is about 3 milligrams.
Okay, that could have been worse.
It has caused paralysis with much less of the toxin than that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that a 1/22nd second? 1/22nd.
Yeah.
Yes. I've never had to say that fraction before. 1/22nd of a snowflake worth of this toxin can kill you.
Yes. Yeah. Estimated. Okay, so the venom is made up of between 100 and 200 different toxic chemicals. However, only 15 to 20 are used when hunting. The rest are reserved for defense. Seems like overkill.
So if it If it pokes you,
Yeah.
then you're going to get a different dose than your average tropical fish.
Unless it's being really ambitious.
It's like, this is a big one. I better bring out the big guns.
Yeah. So the venom also has a powerful opioid-like protein, which is opioids are what painkillers are made of, like morphine and heroin. Yeah. So in high doses, opioids can stop your breathing. These proteins are 10,000 times more powerful than morphine.
Yeah, and heroin is 100 times more powerful than morphine. So
Yeah.
that makes it 1,000 times more powerful. No, makes it 100 times more powerful than heroin.
Yes. Currently, there are synthetic opioids on the market called carfentanil that is used to treat elephants and will quickly kill human beings. However, the proteins in the cone's snail venom are highly selective, which means they might be able to be that powerful without causing addictive or dangerous side effects like other opioids.
Because it's not an opioid.
It's opioid-like.
Yeah.
I did not see anything definitive saying it was in fact an opioid, but it said it was able to bind to opioid receptors. So it's at least shaped like one.
I feel like that makes it an opioid.
Yeah. However, I call bull on that. I doubt it. We don't fully understand why opioids stop breathing or cause certain overdose symptoms, which are deadly, and how they do that. So if it binds to opioids with such power and ferocity, I bet it would also cause a dangerous overdose. Mark my words.
Consider them marked. I've got them right here.
Okay, good.
They're now available for all to hear.
Yeah.
On the internet forever.
So that leads me to one final thing I don't understand. With such a powerful venom, that's all well and good. But how can such a slow, salty snail, not salty at all. It is salty. It's covered in water. How could it possibly catch a fish with such snail speeds?
I am glad you asked. And I didn't prompt or lead that question at all.
Is it as silent as an owl in flight?
It's pretty quiet. It's a snail.
I would imagine it is.
What does the snail say? That's the question.
It just says...
I love it.
That's what it says. That means, hello, I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to be here. Will you accept my harpoon?
And the answer is no.
Will you, Joe, accept my harpoon?
I will not.
2 words for how a snail can catch a fish. Weaponized insulin. If you're not familiar what insulin is, let me give you a quick rundown. When we have an excess of sugar in our bodies, which is all the time...
Because donuts and cookies are good.
Yep, because I just had a brownie before this episode, and so I have an excess of sugar in my body.
Uh-huh.
And so when that happens, your body releases a hormone called insulin to help your blood absorb the sugar and get it out of your system. People who have... If you have too little insulin, then you probably have type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
And if you have too much, then... it's going to take all the sugar out of your bloodstream, and then you're going to have hypoglycemia.
Right.
Which
makes your head swim when you stand up.
Does it?
I think so.
I thought it was just because I have bad circulation and I need to hit the gym.
That's different things, yeah.
I need to find a guy named Jim and just hit him.
He'll be like, all right, here's your free pass for good circulation.
Here's one free pass to stand up without being lightheaded. So what the cunt snail does is it does the second thing. It will like turn a corner in a reef and be like, oh, look at all the blue in the water I see, and then look, there's a fish. It's probably way faster than me.
Yeah.
I'm going to just send a little love its way, and by love I mean insulin. It's gonna like flood the water around the fish.
The fish says, "Give me some sugar," and he's like, "No."
No, I'm going to take that away from you. I'm going to take your sugar away. Give me some sugar. So the water around the fish is suddenly like filled with insulin and other chemicals that also like kind of mellow it out. But it kind of goes into hypoglycemic shock almost immediately.
Same.
So it kind of just floats there and freaks out. And I'm imagining this from the perspective of the fish. And so you're just kind of swimming along, maybe looking at something, and suddenly, like, you're just like, I don't feel so good.
Mr. Stark.
And then you kind of look over and there's a snail just slowly making its way toward you.
Mr. Starkfish, I don't feel so good.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Don't talk about what that is. All right.
So when the insulin enters the fish's gills, it goes into hypoglycemic shock, which makes it really pacified, and it doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to go. So the stunned fish is now just sitting there, and the snail slowly makes its way up to it, and then extends its proboscis, which looks like a giant net mouth. It looks bigger than the snail itself sometimes. Just this huge mouth extends open and around the fish that is helpless to move because it's going through hypoglycemic shock. And then while it's in the mouth of this snail, the snail just shoots it with a tooth needle full of opioids.
Yep.
And then the fish dies, and then it eats it, and then a couple days later it spits out a bunch of fish bones.
I hope it's a painless death.
You know that fun show, Fishbone?
Oh, what's the story with Fishbone?
What's the story, Fishbone? But it's pretty crazy to watch. Like imagine I don't know if the fish how there a fish is when it comes to its brain.
Probably not a lot.
So it's just hanging out, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I don't feel so good. And then it kind of looks over, and you're like, I imagine it fading out and fading back in, and fading out and fading back in, and like this, every time it does that, the snail is getting closer, and suddenly like its giant mouth opens up and just consumes you, and then just this like needle from Alien like just comes out and hits you in the face, and then you're slowly digested, maybe even a little bit alive.
Sounds like a bad situation. Well, you're full of opioids, so it doesn't hurt.
That's true. It doesn't hurt at all. Hook me up, fisherman. I don't even care. So the interesting thing is that scientists are currently looking at the Canis geographus, this molluscan meanie, for a possible better solution to diabetes. So when you have diabetes, you're lacking insulin, so sugar stays in your bloodstream for too long. And you need constant injections of insulin at specific intervals in order to be able to absorb that sugar. So the cone snail's insulin is very similar to a human's insulin in structure.
And different than the cone snail's own insulin.
Yeah, that it uses for itself, and the blood sugar that it has.
So like if it accidentally eats a strawberry.
It doesn't die of strawberry.
Whoops. Ran over a strawberry.
He runs over it and accidentally eats it and dies because it doesn't have good enough insulin. But yeah, it seems very specific, almost tailored to human insulin, so it can be used possibly as a much more effective insulin than the insulin that we currently use for people who have type 2 diabetes. So the jury is still out on that. But we'll see if this super venomous snail. Did we say that this is like based on some of the findings that this snail could be the most venomous animal on Earth?
Oh yes, we did.
Okay, good.
All of these things in nature that have opioids that perfectly bind to human opioid receptors, and insulin that perfectly works in human systems. It's in the bottom of the ocean. Why is it? Why?
Why does that work?
Why does it work? The answer is God leaves Easter eggs. That's what it is.
Don't pick up these Easter eggs, man.
Well, use gloves.
No, it goes through like diving gloves and stuff like that.
Well, how do they?
The needle part.
So how do they research them?
With like tongs?
Forceps, yeah.
Salad tongs.
Salad tongs, yeah.
Bring your salad tongs.
Easter basket.
But you have to, you got to use the salad tongs, put it in your Easter basket, and then you're good to go. But yeah, don't mess with these guys because they will stab you.
Right? Yeah.
Without hesitation.
Yeah, with carfentanil.
Yeah, pretty much. So you got anything else?
I sure don't.
All right, so for you all out there, go snorkeling, check your blood sugar, and for goodness sake, don't pick up those Easter eggs, which is your PSA from Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
We've been searching the Himalayas for days now. I don't think we're gonna find a Yeti, no matter how much we want to. Also, I think we're lost.
No, we're not. Let me ask our Sherpa. Ah! It's Vespasian! What did you do with Batsa? And why do his clothes fit you so well?
What did he say?
He said that Batsa left because he wanted to leave a review for Life, Death, and Taxonomy on Apple Podcasts or some other podcasting app. And also to buy some neat LDT merchandise from tpublic.com.
Are you sure it wasn't because we told him we were looking for Yetis?
Let me ask. Vespasian's gone.
Well, let's get back to town. There's no signal out here, and I want to read Bats' review for LDT.
Maybe Vespasian was the Yeti we were looking for all along.
This podcast is brought to you in part by the Brain Trust Brothers Network. For more information about this podcast or others, visit braintrustbros.com.
Boy, these guys wanted to eat you. They ain't never tasted Terran before.